Photoneers, part 2 of our Canon T1i T2i T3i review. T1i on the table. Let's talk about real quick, okay, so what we were talking about in part 1 was the lenses, okay? The kit lens 18-55 is not a great lens. It's okay, I mean it'll get you started, but that's the weak link in this chain, okay? Your camera is capable of better quality than this lens will give you. Alright, so that's, you know, Canon has 3 levels of lenses. They have their kit lenses, they have their consumer lenses, and then they have their pro lenses, which are designated by an L. And then somewhere, you know what, there's 4 categories of lenses, because somewhere in there there's the EFS lenses, alright? And what an EFS lens is, this is an EFS lens. See, it's got the white square. So white square to white square, and that means that you've got an EFS lens. And this lens only fits on Canon's crop cameras. It will not work on Canon's full frame cameras. You can't use this lens, you can't use an EFS lens on a Canon full frame camera. They're not compatible. You can use a full frame lens on a crop camera. And a full frame lens has a red dot on it. So if this lens was a full frame lens, if it was an EF lens, not an EFS lens, you would take the red dot and you'd line it up and it would fit. Okay, so the EFS lenses, alright, so if I were going back to the Canon system right now, this is what I would have, alright? I could get the EFS 10-22 for my wide angle, but I am so thrilled with that Sigma 8-16, and I'm talking about professionally, that I would get the Sigma 8-16. That would fulfill my wide angle use. For everyday, for my normal range, for everyday normal range use, I would get the excellent Canon 17-55 EFS lens. It's not an L series lens, it's a crop camera lens. It's optically as good as the L series lenses. Okay, for telephoto, I would get the 70-200 f4 IS. I know it's $1,000, but $1,200, $1,300, but that lens is just absolutely tack sharp. And beyond that, I might get a teleconverter. I don't shoot a lot of telephoto. So that's my ideal professional lens kit for this. There are consumer level lenses that are cheaper and with varying degrees of success. The lenses that I mentioned are professional quality. Either the 10-22 Canon EFS lens or the 8-16 Sigma lens. Let's roll that out. Where is that? I don't know, it's around here somewhere. I'd love to show it to you. I have no idea where it is. I've been doing a lot of backpacking stuff. Hey, I found it. Okay, so that's the Sigma lens, that's the Pentax mount, but that's what I'm talking about. That's the lens I get for wide angle for this camera. Okay, the Sigma 8-16 in the Canon mount. That would be a great choice for that camera. I would not get the Tamron 70-200 2.8 because the Tamron's got the motor in it, and for Canon, and it's just going to be slow and awful. In Pentax, it utilizes the screw drive, so it's much faster. Okay, the 17-55 would be beautiful. There are cheaper alternatives, and so there's lenses. Okay, now all those lenses I mentioned would be up to the standards of the T1i T2i T3i. They would give you, you know, your lens wouldn't be your limiting factor. Okay, so that's lenses. Now, the interface is fine. I don't really have any issues with it. As a matter of fact, the interface on the T2i was like the 7D. It was better than the 5D Mark II, so go figure. Definitely. And you know, the batteries are fine. They last a long time. It's a proprietary battery. I think they even make a grip for these. I don't know if they're all interchangeable between each one. There's the battery. So the screens are good. I mean, you could do professional work with these. I mean, that's the bottom line. And the prices are so inexpensive. I mean, really, if you're just getting started, don't get wrapped around the axle about all this. Go get yourself a T3. I mean, what are they, 500 bucks? With the lens? I mean, that's where you want to get started. You can set shutter speeds and apertures on a T3. I think it's 12 or 15 megapixels. I could do professional work with a T3. Not the I, the T3. So, it's the least expensive camera Canon makes. If you want to step up, T1, good interface, good camera. good readout. Kind of reminds me of the K5. So it's all right there. I mean, it's all you need. That's program. Let's look at manual. That's the real test of a camera. Okay, so in manual, your front button is going to change your shutter speeds. That's excellent. And then you push this button, you push and hold that button, and you can change your apertures. There's nothing wrong with that. That's excellent. And there's a readout there. So the T2 I think has a 5-stop readout, which I like better than the T1. So something to think about. So you know what? You could shoot weddings all day long with this. I mean, you could. I mean, the quality is excellent. So the image quality is not an issue anymore. These crop cameras are fantastic, and that's where we're at. So don't obsess about the image quality. I mean, I would probably go with the T2i just cause, but I could do a lot of work with the T1i. There's no all my social work I could do with the T1i, no problem. Okay, it takes the full range of Canon flashes. Here's a 430EX, dusty 430EX. Here we go. So that fits right up there, and you got beautiful TTL. The T3i adds wireless flash control, which is kind of a neat thing. So that would be nice to have if you're into flash and you know what that is and you want a spring for that. That would be cool. So other than that, these crop cameras have really come into their own. Pardon me. One of the things that I don't like about Canon and Nikon is they don't really support the crop. And finally, the crop sensors are awesome. That new Sony 16 megapixel sensor that's in the D7000 and the K5, I mean, they've pulled ahead of Canon. Okay, and now they've got a 24 megapixel sensor that's coming out, that just came out in the Sony A77. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, I mean, the 16 megapixel sensor in the D7000 and the K5 is better than the 18 megapixel sensor in the Canons, and there's nothing wrong with the 18 megapixel sensor in the Canon. I mean, we are there. That's the point of this. We're there. The image quality is fantastic. So now it's just interface and how you like the camera. If you need the speed, get the 7D because the frames per second are faster. So if you're doing sports and stuff, you'll enjoy that. It's a little bit more money, but you get what you pay for. And it's a professional build. It's weather sealed, that kind of a thing. On the other hand, you can have 2 of these for the price of 1 of those. So that's a tough decision. But I know if I was doing something like weddings or landscapes, I would just get a bunch of these and be done with it. So there it is. That's T2i T3i T1i review. And talked a little bit about the 18 to 55. And so that's it. Ed with Photo Universe, giving some impressions on the Canon crop cameras. And we're really digging them. I mean, I could use these. I'm starting to really love the crop cameras. I mean, I shot them when, back in the day when that's all you could afford. But you know what? We've come full circle. Don't lust after full frame. You don't need it. How many 16 by 24 inch prints have you made in the last year? If it's under 5, there's no way you need a full frame camera. That's the bottom line. I make more than that in the year, and I sell them. And I don't need a full frame camera. So what the hey, Okay. That's Ed with Photo Universe. Have a good one. And don't forget to subscribe if you're digging it. And we appreciate everybody who is. Okay. Bye.